So there's this new movie called Sound of Freedom, and this movie, there's something about this movie. There's a lot of controversies going round about this movie. And Hollywood is not wanting people to see this film, and the media and critic companies are talking down on this movie real bad. They said the movie is over exaggerated. The movie is this, is that, is that. It's a movie for. They said it's a superhero movie for dads with brain worms. And the movie is about child trafficking. Sound of Freedom is about child trafficking. I'm going to show you some videos. It, the movie is about child trafficking going on in the world, and this child trafficking industry is worth $150 billion every year. So thousands of children go missing every year in America alone, not to talk of the rest of the world. Now, there are pedophiles globally, all over the world. There are pedophiles. And here's something interesting. In Nigeria, here in Nigeria, I remember I was listening to the radio here in Lagos some years back. Something happened. It's very interesting. It's weird. And nobody paid attention. I was listening to the radio. I can't remember the particular radio station. And then this man called into the radio station that morning or afternoon. And then he said, I remember very well, he said that the government should do something. He reported a place. He said that there is a place right now, and he's right there. I think he called the name of that place somewhere in Lagos. He said they call that place Small London. He said there is this building here. This building, they taking children, underage girls. He keeps seeing underage girls going into this building. Men are taking underage girls into this place. And he said that looking at those girls, he can tell that these girls are between the ages of 8, 9, 10. And they are taking those girls into that place. And he said that this building is heavily guarded. There are security, there are police, armed men, heavily armed men around this building. That the government should come and check out this place. That was what that man called for. He didn't say any of that thing and he hung up. He reported that place. And the people in the radio station just, they commented a few things, blah, 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 and it died off. I genuinely don't think anybody did anything about that place. Because after that call, nothing. I didn't hear anything anymore about that particular place. We have a lot of wealthy pedophiles. Today now, the American society, the liberals, are beginning to carve a new term for pedophiles: minor attractive persons. I understand the reason why Hollywood is actually fighting against this movie, The Sound of Freedom. Because in Hollywood, a movie was released in 2021. They call the movie Cuties. That's the poster right there. They call the movie Cuties. That's the name of the movie. And looking at that poster, you can see that poster is very inappropriate because children are being sexualized. Look at the way the girls are dressed. And those are underage girls. They're not even teenagers. Now, I understand why Hollywood is fighting this movie. Now, it doesn't mean everybody in Hollywood. It doesn't mean all the elites, those rich people that control the film industry. It doesn't mean they are all pedophiles. But they have friends, rich friends, powerful friends that are pedophiles. And they need to protect their friends. They need to protect their friends because they are all in the same club. They have skeletons in their closets. Their friends have skeletons in their closets. So they cannot snitch on their friends. And these people are rich, they are powerful. So they need to protect that industry. The child trafficking industry has been in existence for a very long time. And nobody has done anything about it. Why? Because they're all in the same club of people. They are friends. And of recent, in my previous video, there is a man that works for BBC, and he was exposed, and we saw a video. We saw pictures of him on the internet, sending naked pictures of himself to teenage boys. Now, of recent, the BBC is talking about his mental health, how they can help his mental health. They're not talking about persecuting him. They're not talking about getting him arrested and exposing him. No, nobody's talking about that. Because if you are in the club of these people, you get protected, you get protection. That's the exact reason why they are pushing back on Sound of Freedom. They say that the movie is over-exaggerated, the movie is this, the movie is that. They don't want you to watch the movie. Now, here's a video of the movie being talked about by the original Homeland Security agent, Tim Ballard, talking about the movie with Fox News.
Why is the media hating this movie?
I can't understand it. The film was made, produced, written like 5 years, 6 years ago, way before anyone heard the name QAnon. I still don't even know what QAnon is. In the meantime, they're trying to connect it to some conspiracy when, in fact, like you said, this is a true story. These are real kids. I mean, these kids are my friends. They're young adults now, the ones that were rescued. They're going to come out soon and tell their story. It's going to be very awkward when the mainstream media comes after these kids next and accuses them of being part of some conspiracy when, in fact, they were rescued from a life of rape. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in the media, perhaps.
I mean, this publication says The Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brain worms, and that it fetishizes the torture of its child victims. Is that what the movie does?
It absolutely does not do that. It tells a story based in truth. And, what I think is happening, Jesse, I think that the left and these media outlets, they don't want to have a discussion that this film is going to compel. A discussion about why 85,000 children showed up unaccompanied at the border and got released into the interior of a country that is the highest consuming country for child exploitation material on the planet. They don't want to talk about why these same publications are pushing an agenda to change the word pedophile to minor attracted persons in order to normalize sexual activity with children. I think that's what they're trying to avoid, and they know this film's going to shine a light on all of the things, all the atrocities happening to children, and so they have to discredit it by lying about it.
Well, I came across videos on the internet of people in cinemas, just a few videos of people going to cinema. They wanted to see this film, but suddenly there is emergency problem. Oh, there is a fire, and the fire alarm goes off, and they want people to evacuate the cinema while watching that movie. And people are saying, this has not happened before. Some other cinema, the people are in the studio, the people are in the cinema, they are ready to watch this film. And then the screen is showing error, the people sat there, they said they're not going anywhere until they watch this film. Another cinema, the cinema said it was sold out. There was a woman inside the cinema hall. They put outside online that the cinema has been sold out, that the place is full. But this woman is sitting in that cinema. It was empty. The cinema is completely empty. There is nobody in the cinema, just her. And they said the cinema has been sold out. there is definitely, it's obvious that these people do not want you to see that movie. And the more you don't want people, the more you try to hide something, the more people are curious. The more people are curious, like, let's see this movie, let's see this movie. And if you go online, you go on IMDb, you see that this movie has an 8.3 over 10 rating. The movie is that good. And a lot of people talk about crying, and the movie is very emotional and it's very sensitive and all that. Personally, I also want to go and see that. I also want to see that movie. I also want to see that movie, and I'll definitely see that movie because it's a movie. I think it's a movie that everybody needs to watch. The pedophile company, the child trafficking industry, is worth billions of dollars, and these people are earning a lot of money, and they are protecting themselves. These rich people are constantly protecting themselves because they do not want to be exposed. I remember when the Jeffrey Epstein case, when the whole Jeffrey Epstein issue was trending, and suddenly Jeffrey Epstein was in jail. And the reason why Jeffrey Epstein even went to jail in the first place was, some persons trying to cover their image, and it was already open, so they just needed to do something and make the public see that, okay, we are acting, we are doing something on it. But at that point, I think these people and Jeffrey Epstein had actually reached a point where I think they were not really in a good time, because while Jeffrey Epstein was in prison, he was killed, and they told us that he committed suicide. Everybody knows that's not true. Jeffrey Epstein was killed, but they said he committed suicide. And suddenly, the flight log of all the people that went to the island, and the Jeffrey Epstein list, it suddenly vanished. Because the list of people who have been on that island, it was an island where it was an island for child sex, and it was an island for pedophiles, a pedophilic island. And suddenly the whole case just went down the drain, and apart from Jeffrey himself, we don't know any other person till this day. And this movie, now here's another interesting thing about this movie I want to tell you. This movie, Sound of Freedom, was not shot today. This movie had been shot years back. Yes. This movie ought to have been released, I think, 2018 or 2019. But when this movie was done, Hollywood companies were rejecting the movie, saying, no, the movie is not for them, it's not for them, it's not a good deal. Why is it not a good deal? Because it will touch their friends, and their friends wouldn't like that. So it wasn't a good deal for those big companies. But then Disney bought the movie. Disney bought that movie, Sound of Freedom, I think 2018 or 2019. They bought the movie. And what did they do? They buried it. They hid the movie. They kept it. They didn't put it out to the public. But then some other studio, Angel Studios, irony, Angel Studios, our Saving Angel, the Angel Studios, came, and this movie is out now. So the release date is 2023, July 4th. On the 4th of July, the Independence Day of the United States, the movie was released. The movie was released July 4th. Indiana Jones was released July 1st. And nobody gave a damn about Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones became a flop in the box office. And Sound of Freedom is rising. The movie should have risen way more than its current box office earning, but because of all this, trying to push it down, the movie was they spent $14 million, about $14 million in the production of this film, and currently the movie has made over $50 million. in the box office. It could have made more, or it will still make more. I really want that movie to reach a lot of people, because let people know. A lot of people may not be able to fight it, but people should be aware, because the more you are aware of a problem, the more you can protect yourself from that problem. The child trafficking industry, not everybody knows about it. Not everybody knows that this child trafficking industry is worth billions of dollars. But when people know, the more people know, the more you can protect your children from this problem. The less you know, you cannot really protect your children. But the more you know, the more you become aware and cautious and being more protective of your children, because children are going missing constantly. And not just over there in America, here in Nigeria and Africa and so many other places around the world. If you've not seen the movie Sound of Freedom, I'm not an ambassador for the movie, but everybody needs to see this movie. If you have not seen that movie, you need to go out there and see this movie. I myself would definitely go out and see this movie.